And welcome into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing well. We got a fun one planned for today. We've got our buddy Josh Pate of Josh Pate's College Football Show joining us in a little less than 10 minutes. So we're getting started right out the gate with a banger. Looking forward to talking with Josh. Got a number of things we're going to ask him, get his thoughts on year one under Kalen DeBoer. You know, he's been doing his tour. He's been meeting with all these coaches from the north to the west, the east, to the south, of course. So we'll get his outlook on college football in general. Plus, I definitely want to ask him about the big news that we're definitely going to dive into. A man very familiar to Tuscaloosa, Nick Saban. There was news last night that he is going to be named the co-chair of a new committee that's going to oversee college athletics. So I definitely want to dive into that conversation. We're going to ask Josh about it, but keep that on y'all's mind as well, because I want to get y'all's thoughts and responses to that. We'll give you some details on what we've gathered, what we know so far, but it's definitely very interesting. Again, this comes on the heels of Nick Saban and Trump being in the same building here in Tuscaloosa not long ago, just a few days ago, actually, that they were giving a commencement speech for the graduates here. We talked about it. Hey, what could come from this? Could we see Coach Saban in some type of role? We kind of joked about it, and well, it's actually happening. It's coming into fruition. So we'll discuss that, discuss who the other piece of that puzzle is, a very interesting one. But we've got plenty of time to dive into that. But first, again, 11:15, we will speak with our buddy Josh Pate, Josh Pate's College Football Show, CBS Sports, and break down some Alabama football. Again, we've been talking a lot about it, going into detail about this team, what we feel like needs to happen in year two. We've been given our outlooks, which we will continue to do, but it's always refreshing to get the outlook of others, especially those that are traveling around looking at all these other programs, all these other football teams, that way they have a pretty good idea of a comparison where these teams stand coming out of the spring. Per usual, I got to remind you about our friends over at the Good Feet Store, our presenting sponsors. If you're dealing with any type of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain, you name it, they will take care of it. I'm telling you, all you do, it's the easiest process you can think of. You literally just pop these premium arch sports in your shoes and they get to work. Chase, it sounds pretty easy, doesn't it, right? You literally just pop them in there, and it takes care of that pain. Again, that is a Good Feet store. You can find them over Midtown Village off of McFarland here in Tuscaloosa, but it is nationwide. So you can go to their website, goodfeet.com, schedule an appointment. Find the nearest location to you. Again, that's goodfeet.com. If you're like me, you're dealing with pain, whether it's, excuse me, back pain, like my lower back. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but my lower back used to bother me all the time. I used to think I was sleeping wrong, but found out it had to do with my hamstrings being tight, which all that kind of ends up going back to your base, right, which is your feet. And so if you don't take care of that, you're going to have some problems. So make sure you guys check out the Good Feet store. I'm telling you, I want you guys to benefit from these things like I benefit from. Again, that's the Good Feet store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Basketball playoffs still going on. Maybe we'll dive into that again as it keeps getting closer and closer, deeper and deeper into the playoffs. But in other news, South Carolina, their softball team defeated our team in the tournament yesterday, unfortunately. So we're no longer in the SEC tournament, but we still got obviously a whole nother tournament to look forward to. So no reason to hang our heads down. Unfortunately, I got to deal with that from my dad, but I don't know. I hadn't heard from him in a minute, so maybe he'll let it slide. I know he's getting ready for his golf tournament that's coming up here shortly, but that's back in my hometown of South Carolina. That being said, I want to go ahead and welcome everybody in that's also in the chat over on YouTube. Again, we are streaming live on YouTube again at the Miller's Edge. I see Crystal, I see Southern Red, I see you guys, and I appreciate you guys joining the chat again. If you guys like a visual, want to watch me do the show, right? Obviously, you can listen on the app, on the station, all that good stuff. We definitely encourage that. But if you want a visual, feel free to hop on the YouTube stream at the Miller's Edge, and you definitely can do that there as well. Chase, with Josh coming on here in a few minutes, man, anything you got on your mind? I forgot to say, if you guys have any questions, you got a few minutes or so, maybe 3 or 4 minutes till we get him on here. If you guys want to drop a question that you'd like for me to ask Josh while he's on with us, go ahead and do that now. You've got just a few minutes left. Chase, anything that comes to your mind, anything you want me to ask him? Or you can even ask him, actually.
That's a good question. Put me on the spot there. Well, first, it's good to hear from you, man. But dang.
No pressure. You got plenty of time to think. And I'm gonna hit the basic, Alabama outlook, thoughts on last season, thoughts going into next season, stuff like that. But I didn't know if there's any other teams. I definitely want to ask him about some of these other teams that we've been seeing come up. To me, I think that's it, like Texas, right? Maybe even a Clemson. He covers it all. I want to get his thoughts on some of those teams because he's been able to see them this spring. So he'll have a better idea than most. Obviously, I mean, we can go back and watch tape and try to look at, what they've added in the offseason and go off of that. But, I mean, Josh is literally on his world tour right now. He's seeing them up close and personal. So he's going to have that scoop. So I definitely want to get his thoughts regarding that. But that is what we've got planned for today. It's going to be a fun one again. Josh Pate hopping on here in just a few short minutes. We're going to kick off the show with that. Then, of course, I always got to encourage you guys to hop on with us as well. 205-342-9904. I want to get y'all's responses to what we talk about with Josh. I want to get y'all's responses about this big news that came out last night. Again, we're going to dive into it deeper here in a little bit. But Nick Saban expected to be named co-chair for Trump's commission on college football. Again, something happened really quick, right? We talked about it a few days ago. Now it's already coming to fruition. So we'll dive into the details there. Again, the other guy because it's co-chair, we'll talk about the other name that popped up, which is really interesting, how those two will be working together. At least I guess we can kind of speculate that, and we'll go from there. So, Chase, let's go ahead and hit this timeout. That way we're on schedule with Josh. When we come back, again, Josh Pate of CBS Sports, Josh Pate's College Football Show, joins us right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Be right back.
Put your party face on. The man from the country is cutting loose.
I'm from the country, and I like it that way.
Look out, the big man is coming. Tracy Bird. A night filled with his biggest hits.
That's the truth.
Saturday, May 24th.
What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Appreciate you guys hopping on with us.
Watermelon
Let's see, Richard Southern.
Tickets on sale now at PearlRiverResort.com.
All right, let's see. See what we got. If you guys got any questions that you want me to ask Josh, anything like that, feel free to drop it there in the chat. What's up, Anitra? Good to see you. Glad to have you back. Again, we'll be joined by Josh here in just a couple minutes and kicking things off with that. But the big topic after Josh, obviously, is the whole Coach Saban thing. Definitely going to do a deep dive into that. I want to get y'all's reaction because I thought everybody would be happy about it. Excuse me, but it looks like there's kind of a mixed bag of reactions, honestly. Kind of shocked. So I want to get y'all's thoughts on that, at least from what I've seen. Let's see. Excuse me. Roll Tide. Good to have you guys in here. Most dangerous / dynamic quarterback for this season. Great question. We'll throw it in there. Good deal. We'll throw it in there. If you guys haven't, man, make sure you guys drop a like. That always helps us out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Again, we'll be doing this weekdays, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. It's our new time slot. It was 12 to 2, but 11 to 1. What's up, Brock? Roll Tide. So make sure you guys mark that on y'all's calendar. Again, we'll be here Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. And doing the stream, obviously, you can listen to us on the radio. We are live on radio, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, and on the app as well.
Playing the lute.
All right, let's see. Here we go. About 10 seconds.
2024 Nielsen Report.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A warm afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds, the chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms through early tonight. The high today 83, tonight's low 61. Tomorrow, cloudy with occasional rain during the day. Tomorrow's high at 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 77 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. We're now joined by a good buddy of ours, Josh Pate of the Josh Pate's College Football Show, CBS Sports. Long time no see, man. How's everything been going?
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been around here. I apologize in advance. Nothing personal. There's no issue. I've just, been on the road. You know how life is. How you been?
I'm good, man. No worries, man. I know you're a busy man. Plus, I want to tell you, I want to give you my congratulations and basically say I'm happy for. I heard you got a big 5-star recruit that you cashed in on. You got a big day coming up. You're getting married, so congrats on the engagement.
I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of people said in a perfect world I couldn't land her, and then in the NIL era, I really had a long shot of landing her. We pulled it off, Christian. I don't know how we did it. We pulled it off. It worked, and I'm not asking questions.
Hey man, you're a good looking dude, man. You got a mouthpiece on you, man. It's no shocker here, man. But I want to jump into this, man. So I know you've been going on your tour. You've been traveling around. You met with Kalen DeBoer. We played some of that audio, excuse me, here on the show. A lot of people really enjoyed that. So starting here with Alabama, year one under Kalen DeBoer. What were your initial thoughts? And obviously, we know it was a transition period, but you got to see it. You know, you met with him last year. You got to talk to him after the season. What have you kind of concluded, and what were your, overall thoughts on year one under Kalen DeBoer?
Oh man, I could go for an hour just answering that. So there's a preface you always have to give that when you get paid a lot of money, like you do in major college football, like you do as the head coach at Alabama, no one really wants to hear excuses, which I understand. However, that doesn't mean there aren't sometimes several underlying reasons for why something happens the way it happens. Like if I'm a billionaire and someone T-bones me at an intersection, it was the other dude's fault. It doesn't matter that I'm a billionaire. I've still got a legit complaint about what just happened to me. Likewise, I thought DeBoer he didn't complain himself, but I could make some complaints for him just about the way last year went, the way the landscape around him didn't do them any favors and doesn't do any new head coach any favors in the current climate of retaining your roster while also implementing things exactly how you want to implement them. So anyway, that played out the way it played out. I think the further and further we get removed from last year, more and more people will forget the specifics. That's just the way time works. And the specific I'm talking about is, as you guys will remember, there was really inconsistent quarterback play at times last year. Now, he's really quick to tell you we were inconsistent as a team, which he's not wrong about, but the focus was always on the quarterback position. And I mentioned quarterback because there were calls at times last year, especially the OU game and then the bowl game, for him to bench Jalen Milroe. There were just people who yelled that. And I thought he was really, really smart not to do that, not to pull that trigger, only because I think he had really good big picture perspective on what last year was, on what he wants the program to be, on how loyal Milroe had been, on how much he wanted to emphasize those characteristics, and then also, what the future was going to be and how last year could be used to motivate and to teach for the future, if that makes any sense. And anyone who's been around an organization that will be successful but had some struggle along the way, you know what I'm talking about when you can draw on what happened in the past as it relates to the future. So I don't know, man. It's really long-winded. I thought that if we were to ask ourselves in like 2018, just pick a random year a few years ago, if you were to say Saban's going to retire in a few years, what do you think is going to happen? I would have been really worried. I would have just said no one can fill his shoes. I would have said it's going to be really, really tough for anybody to step into that role. And if you were to flash forward to present day, I would be thrilled to see Alabama football in the position it's in right now. If you would have said 7 years ago, just kind of blind snapshot, here's what it's going to look like, I would have taken this in a heartbeat.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you, honestly. And I think for year one in a transition like it was, like you mentioned, I mean, obviously head coach is going to get all that blame. Quarterback's going to get all that blame. But if you look around, I mean, to me, there's a number of things that just weren't up to par, right? I mean, I thought the receiver room was just it didn't have the same amount of talent that we've once seen. I thought there was a couple other areas, offensive line, the inconsistencies there. I mean, it really, as you know, I mean, there's so many pieces to a football team. it's hard just to put it on one person or one thing. So I'm with you. But moving ahead and looking forward, what do you think needs to be done in year 2 for them to find more success?
They got to run the ball, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really happy and excited with what they have in the secondary. I say the same thing, copy and paste that about the wide receiver room. Really excited about that. But I probably talked to you around this time last year, and I legitimately thought the run game could be a strength of that team, and it just wasn't. And you could chalk that up to one of two things. Well, I guess one of three things. You could either think the personnel wasn't good enough, which I don't totally buy, but it could be a possibility. The second is they just didn't execute, also possible. Or the third would be maybe they weren't committed enough to it. And I don't totally know what the right answer is or if it's a blend of all that, but I will tell you this, and there's a lot of confidence in that building in what I'm about to say. Ryan Grubb comes in there. That's not a guy who is going to flirt with a running game, but abandon it if it's not there. It's going to be there. They're going to make it be there. And that doesn't mean they have all-American personnel in the tailback room. Candidly, I don't think they do. But I think they've got good enough players in that room. And if you're calling yourself having 4 returning starter types on that offensive line and the run game being essential to what you do, you got to be that. And if you go look what they did at Washington, especially the year they shocked everyone remembers Penix, everyone remembers the passing game. I'd encourage you to go look at the way they beat Oregon twice, especially that Pac-12 championship game where they were supposed to be disadvantaged on the ground, and they just flat out outrushed Oregon and really took it to Oregon on the ground. That's how they won there. That's how they've got to win here.
Yeah. And I was about to say, I forgot his name, but the back they had, he was a 1,000-yard rusher, and he came from Mississippi State. Yeah. I always thought that going into last year, we saw at times they ran those pin and pull plays. I mean, they ran the ball at Washington for sure, and I was kind of shocked we didn't consistently do it last year. And I'm with you. It's hard to pinpoint why. I mean, I think it was on. I think you're 100% right, being a mixture. I mean, there was times they did, but we just didn't execute. It wasn't even just last year. I would argue that we haven't executed our running game as well as we should have over the last several seasons, to be honest with you. I mean, that's how I feel. So I don't know. Hopefully that gets Yeah, no, it hasn't. I mean, I feel like we've been saying for like 3 or 4 years now, Josh, like, oh, Bama, they're getting big guys up front. They're looking to run the ball. Everybody thinks that. Then the season comes and the execution's just not there. And it leaves me kind of scratching my head. I personally don't really know what it is.
It really makes you appreciate. I'm in a little echo place, so I couldn't tell if you were done. It really makes you appreciate the folks who do it consistently. Because you can start taking it for granted when you do it consistently. Bama started taking it for granted when they did it consistently. But Bama's not the only place in the SEC that's talking like this. Georgia won the SEC last year, and they couldn't run the ball worth anything. And I don't think it's coincidence that they had a quarterback with the best pure arm talent in there that they had in a while. And they started to try and throw the ball more, but also that affects the way you practice, as you know. And that affects the way you play and the identity of your team. And so now they're over there talking about how they can get their ground game back, just like Alabama is. And it's why you can't have everything. This is not Xbox. You can't just have everything via A+ levels. That's what identity means. That's why people use that word so frequently in this game.
Absolutely. You mentioned Grubb being back and how he's not afraid to run the ball. What do you think he's going to bring to the table? In my opinion, I concluded by the end of the year, I felt the departure of Grubb last season ended up being more of an issue than we initially thought. I think a lot of people kind of chalked it up, including myself. Oh, it's DeBoer's system. Everything will just keep on running smooth, which it is a system. But I do believe with Kalen DeBoer being one of those coaches that delegates a responsibility to his coaches, I feel like, Grubb coming back will be a much bigger deal than we might have realized. What do you think that looks like this upcoming year? Do you feel like him being back here is that big of a deal?
It's a really big deal. Everything I'm about to say, if you take it out of context, could be misconstrued as a shot at Nick Sheridan. That is not what this is. I think Nick Sheridan was put in a role last year a little bit before it was time to put him in that role because obviously Grubb left. And
I agree.
He was supposed to be the coordinator last year. I'll tell you this. It is DeBoer's system. No one's wrong when they say that. And they tried to run it last year, and they'll run it again this year. Now, Ryan Grubb's really good. He was good enough to get an NFL job. They don't accidentally give those jobs out very often. But I think more than anything systematic or anything formation-wise or anything like that, yeah, you'll have some new personnel on the field. It's just the attitude. I don't know how much – I don't know how different to put it than the attitude that will and already has begun to sort of permeate throughout the building. It's just there's stuff you won't accept. And it sounds so simple. I mean, a fifth grader could say that stuff. So you start to fool yourself into thinking it's a little more complicated than that. Well, it's more nuanced than that. But really, at the baseline, your product is what you tolerate. And there's a lot of stuff that happened last year. You just can't tolerate that. Now that's also easy to say. Here's the follow-up. Do you have leadership that you look at and you're really fearful of? Do you respect them to that point? Do you know you can get away with stuff or not? And I don't know how long or how much you guys have been around him. I know the audience really hasn't, but you will, and you'll come to realize, you could probably look at a picture of the dude and know enough, but you'll come to realize it makes perfect sense what I'm saying when you see how Ryan Grubb carries himself, how he runs his side of the ball. Really no nonsense, really attention to detail. A lot of the stuff that permeated throughout Saban's tenure there, it's kind of the attitude that I would expect them to have offensively. Now, those are all just words. That's nothing to do with X's and O's. But I think it'll ultimately impact the X's and O's heavily. And I think more than anything in terms of like a spike in points per game or rushing yards per game, that'll all be a byproduct of the increased level of consistency. Just the consistency alone, if you get that, which I think you will to a higher degree, all the rest of the stuff will work downstream of that.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with what you said. I mean, Kalen's so nice that I think you have to balance it out with a guy like Grubb that kind of has that side of the approach. And for that, I do think it will help them out. I do think what you said is something that whether we want to say it or not, was something that kind of we saw, right, in year one. A lot of guys were still trying to really fully buy into a new coach. And it's not DeBoer's fault. I just know as a former player, that's how guys are, right? Like as a coach, they're trying to figure you out, especially when you're going from Nick Saban. I think going into this year, then adding a guy like Grubb, who you just said the way he goes about it, the buy-in is going to be a lot higher. And I think that definitely is going to help them out as a team. And in some of those areas that needed to be cleaned up last year, kind of like the inconsistencies, some of those situations where it just seemed like guys weren't fully either bought in or just locked into what they were supposed to be doing. Sometimes it felt like guys were even improvising. But I want to ask you, Josh, I know we got you for a few more minutes. I don't want to hold you up too long. And we are joined by Josh Pate of Josh Pate's College Football Show, CBS Sports. When you look at this schedule for Alabama this upcoming season, Josh, any games you have circled, and how confident are you that Bama sees themselves in the playoffs this season?
I'm confident they're a playoff caliber team. So it's very easy to say the first one. If you had me talking about FSU, I'd say the same thing. Just because I don't know, there's a whole lot you don't know in college football in week one. But if you get past that first game, oh man, I am really, really interested about the time you get to that fourth or fifth game. And I know that's like the Georgia, the Vandy, Missouri, like that stretch right there.
Yeah,
I'm really interested to see how are you playing on the road, first off, because it was very great at times last year at LSU. It was very ugly at times at Oklahoma, which goes back to the consistency piece I'm talking about. So if you know you're going to play in Athens and you're going to go up to Columbia, Missouri, two very different environments, do you handle your business the same way in both places? And then later in the year, is your depth still there to where you're still able to play at a high level? That's the one thing that stood out being around Ohio State as much as I was last year. They lost 2 games in the regular season, which shouldn't be ignored, but they also found a way to play not only their best, but some of the best football we've seen anyone play in a while in December, which is a testament to the way they practiced all year. And I know because they shaped their entire season plan around it, being able to peak in December. So that's something everyone's focused on right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I look at this South Carolina game coming up on the road back in my hometown, and I'm like, oh man, Lenore Sellers, really good player. I think Beamer's doing a good job with that program. I know I definitely I'm circling that, but I'm with you in terms of down the stretch. that's got to be important. And the consistency, you're 100% correct, man. There's so many ebbs and flows last year. I mean, it was like a roller coaster, kind of like the stock market right now. When we were watching Bama play, sometimes we play great. The next time, I'm like, what are we doing? Had some blunders, but I think a lot of that will hopefully be cleaned up, and it needs to if we want to make a better run. Real quick, I got a couple more for you, Josh. In terms of overall SEC outlook, again, you've been to numerous programs. You're on your tour. What's your overall outlook for the SEC? If you got a couple of top teams maybe that you feel like going into this year, I know it's still way too early, but just off I guess what you've seen so far and what you would feel like could be the case. Then also, where do you see kind of Alabama falling in that mix of, top SEC teams?
I think there's a group of teams. I would call Texas one. Off of reputation, I would call Georgia one. I'd put Alabama in this group. I'd probably put LSU in this group of teams that I expect to be seriously in the playoff picture. There are two other teams. One of them may be a mild surprise that I think absolutely have playoff caliber teams, but the prove it factor is still very much there. Florida's one of them, and they got a crazy schedule again. But Oklahoma's another one that I don't think is on many people's radars. And the addition they made at QB and bringing that coordinator along with him, that's a loaded roster. That's 3 top 10 classes stacked on top of each other. They've done a really good job in the portal, and everyone just thinks they're terrible. Well, they had a terrible quarterback dynamic last year. And I'm telling you, man, I think they got the toughest schedule in the country. But that is a very, very solid team, I think, if that quarterback piece pans out, and I think it will. And then outside of that, go back to what I said about Oklahoma. You could say that about everyone. You could say it about Georgia, about Texas, about Bama. There's not weakness at the quarterback position as much as there is just question mark after question mark. And you extend that out to Oregon or Ohio State, everywhere else, Notre Dame, all the big boys seemingly have at least a question mark at the quarterback position this year, which just indicates there's very little skill in predicting how it's going to go. There normally isn't anyway, but there's really very little skill in that this year, which means you need to be as light on your feet as possible in August and September, because there's going to be someone who you write off for dead in September that sees it click in mid-October and just looks like a different team. That may happen times 3 or times 4 this year across the country.
Wow. It's definitely sound like it's going to be an interesting year, Josh. We got just 2 little questions from our listeners that they want to ask you real quick before we let you run here. We got one from Southern Red. She wants to know if there's any, or who's the most dangerous or dynamic quarterback that you think we should watch out for this upcoming season.
I think dynamic is either Lagway or Lagway. I think is more dangerous. He didn't throw in spring, so if he's healthy down at Florida, he's incredible. Sellers is the same way. I thought South Carolina, just candidly, would do a lot more in the portal at wide receiver than they did, because I don't think they're very impressive at all in that room. And that's with the caveat that this is college football. It's a developmental level of the sport. And so it could be that they just know a lot more about their guys than we do, and we'll all find out about it. But those two, and then the other one for different reasons is Marcel Reed at A&M. I just kind of wonder, relative to his ceiling, how much of him have we seen?
And that's the dual threat guy that came in for them last year, right?
That's correct. Yeah. And wasn't really, he was kind of a year ahead of schedule. I'll tell you another one now that I think about it, that's no one's really paying attention to. Penn State's on the road last year. They're down 10-7 at the half at Wisconsin. Aller goes down. Bo Perbula comes in. They go on a 21-3 run in the second half. He transfers to Missouri, probably falls in a really good position developmentally. And so it's, again, a situation where Eli Drinkwitz has got a guy he can work with and win with, and he'll be off the radar. That's also one I'd pay attention to. And Bama, I believe, plays them this year.
Dang. Well, definitely need to keep a lookout for him. Last one I think it is right here. Buck from Georgia wanted to know what your thought was on the culture of Alabama right now. I know you paid Kalen DeBoer a visit. You were at one of the scrimmages, I believe. But so you've been around us in the spring. Your thoughts on the culture right now?
Very solid. I mean, what you would want it to be, everything they would want it to be. It's really a testament when you have no guys jumping out of that thing into the portal, and you got a bunch of guys who could have tested the draft waters, who instead come back. And if they didn't go to the draft, I can promise you with all caps, there were bigger offers for a lot of Bama's returning guys to go elsewhere, and they're still there. So that speaks more about the culture around there than any words from an outsider could speak. But I will also tell you, you won't get Dave Ballou on record talking about this or any of those guys. They went about as old school as they could go. Once they got rid of last season and they got into the plan and workout programs for this season, the ones who make it to the field this fall have been through it. And you don't go through that just to go 8-4. I can promise you.
No, you're right, man. No, and I love hearing that because I've definitely been through that process, and I'm a firm believer. People used to make fun of Coach Cochran and us being hurt, but injuries are inevitable, and I think the mental aspect of what we benefited from all that was entirely important. Real quick, I guess I lied. One last one. My producer had one. I didn't see this. I just want to make sure we get this in. He's the man. He just asked if there was one college rivalry game that you could watch for the next 10 years. Which one would it be?
I've been around the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry a lot. I know that's the number one answer people go to normally. I've been around that one a lot. That one's pretty insane, but since I grew up in the South, you can't just like shake the impact that the Iron Bowl had on you as a kid. So I would pick the Iron Bowl because there's an attachment to it that I have from childhood that I don't have to any other rivalry in that way.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. You know what's crazy? I grew up in South Carolina, so I really remember the Palmetto Bowl. I guess I don't even know if that's the official name, but South Carolina Clemson. But I do remember seeing, the Iron Bowl, and it always stood out to me, especially when I was in those high school ranges. And I just remember like kick six when I was like a junior or something like that. And it just always seemed like something was just going to happen in that game. So I agree with you, man. Iron Bowl is definitely special. But I do want to make one of the the big game, whatever it's called, Michigan Ohio State. I hear so much about it. I've never been to it, but I would love to try to make one just to kind of see what the hype is about. Maybe just to kind of compare it.
I grew up seeing it from a distance. I've been to, I think, 4 of the last 5 of them. Really, really, really intense. And the other one I always thought was overrated when I was a kid because I didn't know any better, was OU Texas. That's turned into my favorite rivalry game to go to. And I don't like neutral site stuff in college football. That's just a big exception. They do it perfectly. Everything you love about this sport, I mean, if you love what I love, is just all encapsulated. It's all on display there. The entire environment, pregame, postgame, everything in between, including the game. It's a stadium full of bleacher seats. There's no suites in the Cotton Bowl. So, like, everyone who's there wants to be there for the football game and not everything surrounding the football game. It's incredible.
Dang. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that too. Matter of fact, one of our callers always tells us about it. And I think he even said there's like a state fair that goes on. It sounds kind of crazy. So I don't know. I don't know if you've seen that or heard that. Yeah.
It is. It's on the campus, like it's on the premises of the state fair, and the fair's going on, and the game's happening at the fair. And I got a sideline credential when I go to that game every year. So at halftime, there's just one tunnel. The stadium's like 538 years old. So there's just one tunnel that comes into it. So I run up the tunnel. I'll go out and get like funnel cake, corn dog, and stuff like that out at the fair, and then walk back in time for the second half. You got powdered sugar all over your shirt. It's amazing. You can't do that anywhere else.
That's incredible, man. Now, okay, I got a couple games I definitely got to catch at some point. No, that to me sounds nuts, but I'll have to make sure I make it out there one of these days. Josh, I appreciate you, man. I'm sorry we had you so long, man, but we wanted to make sure you get all these questions from our listeners and everybody, but appreciate you as always. And before you go, man, plug, I know everybody always listens to your show, but plug all your stuff that you got going.
Yeah, it's easy stuff. It's Josh Pate College Football Show, and it's on every platform. So if you can't find it, don't search too hard. But if you want to find it, it's Josh Pate's College Football Show, wherever you listen to or watch whatever you listen to or watch.
Good deal, man. Again, congrats on the big day coming up, tying the knot, and appreciate you hopping on here, man. Hopefully we can talk soon.
I appreciate it, man. I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Josh Pate, everybody. Josh Pate's college football show, CBS Sports. Big thanks to him joining us here on the Miller's Edge. We got to take a timeout. We come back, we respond, get y'all's responses. Plus, we still got to dive into the whole Coach Saban deal, him being named co-chair of the new commission. All that coming up right here on the Miller's Edge. Time 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed that, man. Now it's time to respond. Y'all had any thoughts on anything Josh said? I know we had some responses to the JD Piquel clip that we played. But if you guys got anything you want to respond to, we'd love to break that down. Great interview. Oh, thank you, Mike. Yeah, no, Josh is great, man. He's got a way with words, man. He's really good, man. Really good. There's a reason he's so successful. Me, on the other hand, I'm having one of those days. I can't even get the words out today. So bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Great question, by the way, Southern. And I think his answers are Lenore Sellers. I think just physically, man, he's a specimen. I think he's going to be even better. And then Lagway from Florida. Other than that shoulder thing that he's got going on, he's a really good quarterback too. So. Great interview. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I thought it was great too. Josh was awesome, man. We'd love to get him on here as much as possible. He's so busy, traveling, doing those interviews with the coaches, and then, like I mentioned, he's got a wedding coming up. So he's a busy man, but appreciate him hopping on here and giving us not just a few minutes. He was on here about 25 minutes. I felt bad, but there's so much to talk about. We had to unpack it, man. Let's see. We got Ricky lined up on the phone lines. So we'll probably do that here in a second. See if I missed anything in the chat. If you guys are just joining us, we just were joined by Josh Pate, college football analyst, CBS Sports. Again, we're in a commercial break here. When we come back, we'll probably go to the phone lines. I got to check in with Chase on the time.
Alabama Broadcasters Association.
Might have to double up on those breaks. Paper pops. Yeah, he's great, man. Excuse me. Anything that stood out to y'all with what he had to say? Obviously, it was a lot more positive, you could say, but the JD thing, people are a little frustrated hearing that. But anything that stood out? I like when he was talking about what Baloo has kind of gone back to and has been incorporating what's it called? All right, good deal. Wait, so Chase, so that means when we come back, are we going to go to the top of the hour? I just want to make sure I'm good with your time. I don't want to mess you up.
Part-time.
All right, good deal. Perfect. Chase,
I got from the Army National Guard, helped me buy my first.
Need a W Chase in the chat. W Chase in the chat. Chase, our producer, man. He's always getting the job done.
These bands from anywhere other than.
And Coach had a plan indeed. Trust the process. You called it. I got to give you props. You called it. You were saying that. Mimi, you said he's always got something up his sleeve, and it definitely happened a lot quicker than expected. Corey Lewis, does Alabama have a pass rush that would give us at least 10 sacks?
Stay connected. We're working
Good
hard.
question. I'm gonna I'll hit that. But it's probably gonna be give us a little bit of time because we got a call to get to and some other stuff to respond to. But I'll bring that up. That's a great question.
You move over, please slow down.
Visit DriveSafeAlabama.org. Brought to you by the Alabama.
I can give you my quick answer. I'll be honest.
Alabama
with you.
Broadcasters Association
I
and
don't
this station.
think I see
Stop
it
by
in
Sherwin-Williams
that
and get
guy
30% off select paints and
Can it happen? Absolutely, it can happen. Hell, I mean, if Q Robinson didn't
Increase
get hurt
base field
last year, he
break.
probably would have been a 10-sack guy. But looking at this roster, I mean, the guys that have that type of skill set are more younger guys. So how many opportunities do they get? How quick do they get up to speed? You know what I mean?
see store for details.
I mean, I'd argue that one of the most disruptive pass rushers we have would be LT. See, I gotta save all this so we can talk about it.
Every Friday and Saturday.
But to me, we'll have to see. He's got to finish better. That's the biggest thing with him.
May 31st drawing
We
for
know
a
we know what
brand
kind of
new
ability he
car.
has, right? He's very
Plus,
disruptive.
each
We saw him all over the backfield, but he did leave a lot of money on the table. All right, good deal. But could we have one? Yeah, no, I think we could. But I'll just be honest with you. I mean, looking at, always start with the edge spot, right? Like the true edge spot. Those are supposed to be your go getters, right? When I was playing, yes, we did have some double digit guys on the interior. You know, like Bugs was up there, double digit guy, I believe, if not just shy of it. Quinnen Williams probably was up there. Jonathan Allen, I'm pretty sure, was up there.
Our home base in.
You know what I mean? So it's very tough to have a guy from that spot. Then when I look at, but I start with the edge guys. Looking at the edge guys, I don't know. Thank you, Anitra. Thank you. I don't know. We'll talk about that. I'll go through the list. Now, don't get me wrong. I think these young guys that we have at the edge spot definitely have potential. It's just they might be a little young. I don't know the opportunities. I don't know how quick they get up to speed.
Andrew Sports Medicine.
Tide 1.
But we'll talk about that. That's a really good question. Again, if you guys ever got any questions like that or any in general, drop them in the chat, and I promise we'll read them on air. We got to take some phone calls
Tomorrow,
real
cloudy
quick,
with occasion.
and then we'll get back to the chat. But that's how we operate around here. We love just getting y'all's questions, comments, all that stuff.
He's in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Thursday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport experts. Big thanks to Josh Pate, Josh Pate's college football show, CBS Sports, who just joined us. We just finished that interview up. If you guys missed it, don't worry. Obviously, there'll be a rerun of this show that we're doing live here on YouTube. Obviously, we're live on Tide 100.9 as well. But you can go back, and I'll even clip it up and put it separate. So if you guys want to go rewatch that or re-listen to it, we'll have it here on YouTube. But big thanks to Josh for joining us. Now we're going to respond to it. Again, we talked about a number of things, really got his outlook on Alabama, his thoughts from last season going into this year. He's been around the SEC, around the country, so he gave us outlook on some of these other programs as well. So that was really fun to do. Now it's time to hear from you guys. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. Don't forget, you can always download that Tide 100.9 app and leave your app message right there. We can read them live on air, or if you're on the YouTube stream with all the fine folks over here we're chatting it up with, you can always drop questions there, just like our buddy Corey dropped one here that we'll read here in a little bit. So that's how we are operating. All right, to the phone lines you go. First up, we got Ricky. Ricky, welcome in.
I knew Josh was going to bring up the QB situation last year, and I was not about to let that slide.
Oh,
so
man.
Man, look, I love Josh Pate, man. Like that's the man. But I do got to push back a little bit on that, because not every Alabama fan watches like college football in general when they get up on Saturdays. They're only up for Alabama games, and then they turn their TV off. I watched all of OU's games last year, and their offense was non-existent. So to me, that game was primarily like a defensive issue, because if you watch OU versus Tennessee, or if you watch OU versus Texas, they literally, even like running the ball, like having their QB run the ball, like their offense was essentially not even there. Like it was almost like a shame to see. So I was kind of more like critical of our defense that game than our offense, because if you watch our offense, like Ryan Williams had a lot of drop passes, so did Jeremy Bernard. Like nobody was locked in really, like on that offensive side of the ball, and Jalen made plays that got called back that probably would have put us in position to, like, make the game at least interesting. Like, so like I think there was like a little bit of context. So you got fans I hear what he's saying in terms of like fans wanted to bitch like Jalen like after the game and all of that. But again, like we talked about this before, where it's just like they only kind of see like black and white when it comes to a lot of this stuff. Like a lot of their, like most of their mindset, it starts and ends with the quarterback. But in my opinion, like our defense really like failed us that game, because OU's offense was probably the second worst in the SEC, probably behind I want to say Mississippi State, like probably right behind them. Like that's how bad it was. So that game to me was more so defense than it was anything on the offense.
I don't know if I would say it was more defense, Ricky, but I would say it definitely was a collective effort instead of just being like, primarily one guy, right? Most people sum up Oklahoma to being Jalen Milroe's fault. Did he play a good game? Absolutely not. No, he played a very poor game. It wasn't a good game at all. I think he had 3 picks. One of them was tipped, right? So, 2 of them, one of them he threw down to the flat, dude picked it off, and then the other, I forgot, I'm drawing a blank, but I remember the third one was tipped, right? That being said, he didn't play great, but like you mentioned, receivers had drops. We showed up to that game. It was a really weird game, right? We did not come to play, and I agree with you. Defensively, we didn't really show up either. So I'll give you this. I think it was a collective failed effort, but I wouldn't say it was primarily defense. I think offense definitely played a big role. But you're right. That OU, we let that quarterback run all over us. I agree with you.
Like, but this is my thing again. Like, and it comes back to like actually watching like college football, like in totality. Like, Oklahoma didn't have an offense until they played us, which was the weirdest thing ever. Like, they got whatever they wanted, like running the ball, throwing the ball.
Jackson Arnold rushed for 131 yards. So I'm with you. The reason you're putting on the defense and I'm with you. I'm going to share this on our YouTube link. Here's the box score. Jackson Arnold was 9 of 11 for 68 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But on the ground, he had 25 carries for 131 yards. That is on the defense, right? And I'm with you. Like, their offense was non-existent until to that point. But you got to tip your hat to those guys. Again, we failed to execute, but they also realized, hey, they can't stop the quarterback run. And what they do, they had their quarterback carry the ball 25 times. The next leading rusher was running back Xavier Robinson, 18 carries for 107 yards. So we were terrible at stopping the run in that game. And I remember the second half, we finally made some adjustments that did help a little bit, but it was almost like it was too late. And that's why I said the other day, the biggest thing that I need to see out of our defense, because I'm expecting them to take steps forward, but one thing that could easily make them a much better defense is playing with consistency. And then on the coach's end, actually, being quicker to adjust, right? That was one thing that really we lacked a lot of the time last year was adjustments. But yeah, you're right. I'm with you. To be fair, I'm with you that defense needs to take a little bit more responsibility in that one. But if someone says Jalen played bad that game, that's also true too. Well, Vanderbilt offense was much better. Defense played poor. And you're right. Vanderbilt, we let a quarterback run all over us as well. And same thing, lack of adjustments. We tried adjusting to how we were, because Vanderbilt runs a very specific type of offense. It's a form of the option read type offense, right? We waited too long to try to mix things up. And I think they were trying to change up responsibilities on, who's a quarterback player, this and that, to try to throw them off. But we just never fundamentally had a way to stop it. Plus, we made their tight end look like he was Travis Kelce at times. So that was a weird game. And then third down, we could not get off the field. That was terrible.
Well, no, but see, all right. I know it's of the popular mindset to put all the blame on number 4, but let's be real clear. This kid would be a national champion. If most of his big games, the defense showed up when it mattered the most.
You're talking about 23? You're talking about the year we lost to Michigan?
23? Yeah, 23, 24. I mean, these are games. Some of these games are all right, we win this if a fourth down, if we don't let the offense convert on a fourth down, or we can get off the field after a third down. Like it's like we win these like games. So I'm not like keen on just like, oh man, he should have benched Jalen Milroe, because first of all, Ty Simpson, and I love this dude, by the way, like loyalty and all. He doesn't have the athletic ability nor the experience to get out of certain situations that our O-line, like, out of our O-line shortcomings, like, the past couple of years. Jalen did. Like, for me, it's just not as black and white as, like, oh, well, one player played that. And I know you agree with me on that. I just thought that was kind of like an easy way out. That I thought, and I knew what Josh was saying, but then again, to like lead off with that and to say, well, I think that he didn't bench Milroe because of the loyalty thing. I'm like, let's be clear. These guys are paid a lot of money to put out the best product they feel can give them the best chance to win. I have no doubt in my mind, if they thought that was Ty Simpson, he would be playing.
Well, I'll answer this. I mean, I'm around all those people up there. I think number one, I think you're definitely right in terms of it more so wasn't about the loyalty, but I will say two things can be true. I believe, could there have been a small percent that, hey man, like he respected Jalen, obviously he's going to, give him, every opportunity possible, of course, but I don't think it, like, to make it seem like that was the main contributing factor. I don't agree with that, because I do know, literally talking to coaches, I mean, they would tell you Jalen was the best option at quarterback over the last couple of seasons. Not saying you could, Ty could probably go out there and play some solid football, but they felt Jalen, with his ability, with everything else that they had, an offensive line that has struggled the past several years, Jalen gave them the best chance to win, right? I mean, there's a reason Coach Saban also chose Jalen as well. And it wasn't like, oh, Coach Saban just chose him and didn't look back. No, Coach Saban benched him after the Texas game, saw what Ty and Buckner could do, and went right back to Jalen. So I don't even know why, there really even is. I mean, I think it's just, it comes back up with DeBoer because people just assume, oh, well, there's a new coach. The new coach doesn't have a choice. But no, I went to all the scrimmages last year. I mean, I saw both guys play. Jalen was the better option at that point in time. So I'm with you there. But I also will add, you mentioned, defense being a solid defense being, the issue with not winning. I would take it a step further, and I would say the offensive line and the inconsistencies there are equally as important.
I didn't bring that up.
Yeah, I was going to say, to me, like in that Michigan game, right? I agree, because you're right. There was that fourth down conversion that Michigan had. Blake Corum caught the ball out of the backfield, ran a quick little route to the flats, right? Cut it upfield for a big gain, and that is probably one of the biggest plays of that game. But I'd argue that also, if you go back and watch that tape, which you've already seen this, but I'm just talking in general here, the offensive line performed extremely poor in that game from the opening drive. I think Jalen was sacked probably 3 times in probably the first 7 plays of the game. If you go back and watch,
first 4 plays.
Yeah, or maybe even the first 4. I mean, it literally just was almost every drop back was a sack. People try to start, muddying the water. Oh, well, he holds the ball too long. But if you go back and watch a Michigan game, most of those was really just poor execution by the offensive line, them getting beat, Michigan doing a nice job bringing pressure, and we didn't pick it up well. So, I'm with you. It's never on one person. I mean, it's always a collective effort, especially when you go back and watch our teams the last several years. I don't see how you don't immediately, see the offensive line failing to protect. You don't immediately see, the lack of adjustments, failure to get off the field. All of these things clearly stick out to me, and that's why I put them all together. I would never just blame one person or one coach.
Well, I'll take it even a step further. He put us ahead in that Michigan game. Like, he literally willed us to a lead, and it got blown the very next Michigan drive, forcing us into OT, and we still couldn't make a play. So it's just damn if he does, damn if he doesn't. It's like, I feel like it's kind of no winning, even if you are on his side with Jalen. So like, I mean, like, I just don't know. Like, I think it'll always, for most people in their mind, start and end with the quarterback. And I'm just
but
like,
but like you mentioned, I mean, a lot of fans they kind of just see more on the surface level, which is okay. I mean, that's and it's typical, right? And that's why the quarterback gets all the praise, but they also get all the blame. That's why here on our show we try to dive into some more the ins and outs of the game. That way people can learn, right? Like it's not just on one person. Like this is what actually goes on each and every play. These are some of the philosophies. This is what should happen here. So we're trying to educate the folks, Ricky. Don't worry, man. We're trying to.
hey, I love Pate State, but I got to push back when you know how I am when it comes to that, man. Like
you got to defend for.
That's my guy.
I got you. We appreciate you, Ricky, man. Absolutely, man. Be easy. Good deal. Our man Ricky out in California. All right, we got to take a time out. We come back. We keep things rolling. Hour number 2 officially underway after this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge. Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Ricky's always going to defend for, man. He's definitely going to do that. And rightfully so, man. Rightfully so. When it's especially do. I don't think what Pate said was too bad. I think he just was he just was going along the lines of a little bit of a, obviously a loyalty thing. But I don't think he was saying that's the only reason. I mean, he knows ball. I think he knows as well that he was saying more so on the lines of, I guess, making that replacement. You know what I mean? He wasn't saying like just in general, like, oh, they're only. He was saying more so the reason that they didn't swap quarterbacks. I didn't think that was bad. Which none of it is bad. It's all subjective, man. Just opinions. Corey, I promise we're gonna get to your question here. I think we got another call to get to, but I could probably hit your question before. Do we have any other questions in here? No adjustments. Capital, no. Adjustments were made last season. Yeah, I mean, obviously they made adjustments at some point, right? But it definitely was either very minimal, way too late. But I'll be honest with you, half the time, they might not have really even came till later in the year. I'll be honest, because there's some of those early games. I'm like, God, we're not really changing anything. And sometimes I was trying to figure out our own philosophy, man. But again, I mean, you got a lot of coaches first year in the conference. I mean, it's hell, a lot of coaches first year working with offense. Think about the offense side of the ball. There's a lot more continuity with the staff. Most of those guys came from Washington defensively. I mean, you had people from kind of all over, right? So, I think you can only. Well, let me not say that. You can always go down, but I think there's much higher chance of everything going up, trending upward this upcoming year. Corey says, love the show. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, man, we enjoy doing it. It's just, talking ball, talking sports, having fun. And again, we are live on the radio, by the way, if you guys aren't aware, but Tide 100.9, that's the station that we're live on, and then we're bringing it back over to YouTube. Some people, that it's more appealing to have a visual, right? You want to watch me talk, right? Not just listen, which I don't blame you. Plus, I can always throw stuff on the screen. I hate that we can't. I wish like we could actually throw up like game tape and stuff like that. But YouTube, man, I mean, they block everything. Obviously, the people listening on radio wouldn't be able to see. But if we're ever talking about stuff like me and Ricky were, for example, talking about the Michigan game, I would love to pull up those clips and I could actually show you guys what I'm talking about. Problem is, YouTube just blocks everything. Maybe if I could do like the still images, I think that could work. We got around it when we used to do it. But we'll figure it out. Appreciate everybody joining us, man. Again, if you guys haven't already, drop a like, subscribe. If you guys want to stay up to date, again, Monday through Friday, we're doing this 11 to 1 every single day. We'll be live here on YouTube as we do the radio show as well. So. welcome back into Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Hour number 2 officially underway. Had a fun hour number 1. We were joined by Josh Pate of Josh Pate's College Football Show, CBS Sports. Got a lot of good stuff out of him. Discussed Alabama last season, year 1 under Kalen DeBoer. Outlook going into year number 2. Some of these other SEC teams, some quarterbacks to look out for. So really great interview. Again, we'll throw that back up on the YouTube channel. Plus, you can always rewatch these lives later on. They do get saved on the channel. So that will be there for you guys as well. So again, shout out to everybody tuning in on YouTube. We got some folks in the chat discussing things. Matter of fact, we'll hit a question here in a minute. I think we're going to go to the call first. That way we can give Pat plenty of time. But I appreciate everybody that is tuned in via YouTube at the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9 on the actual radio, all that good stuff. So guys, welcome in. That being said, Chase, let's go back to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Next up, we got Pat. Pat, welcome in.
Hey, did Josh mention anything about Auburn running backs? I don't watch Auburn normally. Now, most other schools, I watch LSU. I watch Texas some. I watch Texas A&M a fair amount. But I like Kentucky. Because Kentucky football, they work so hard. Their fans, what fans they have show up, are absolutely amazing because they know they're going to lose most of the time. But the fans still show up, bless their heart. But no, did he mention that? I'm probably going to spend some time watching Auburn football because, if he's starting talking about Alvin Henderson, that I followed Alvin Henderson his last 5 ball games I went to, and I watched him in all-purpose yards, 300-plus yards each one of those games. He was fun to watch. It was 1A football, but he was fun to watch. Because it was like he was playing in the backyard. Whatever he did, whether he caught passes, whether he ran back balls, whether he ran the ball out the backfield, whether he lined up a wildcat quarterback, whatever he did, he was special. Just like some great ones that we've had that wore number 2 to Deuce David Palmer. He was that kind of special, and I hope we didn't foul but they may not be able to keep him eligible. I don't know if he's going to be eligible. Did you hear anything out of Josh Pate on him? I missed part of that conversation. I'll have to go back and watch your podcast.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't ask him about Auburn specifically, and he didn't mention anybody. So no, he didn't bring him up. I don't know if he mentioned Auburn. I asked him about top teams in the SEC. He kind of listed the typical ones you would expect. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, threw in LSU as well. But yeah, no, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even too familiar with young man you're talking about, but I'll look into him, Pat.
He broke every record in the state of Alabama as far as a running back goes. Whether it's catching the football out the backfield, whether it was running, he's that kind of special. But like I said, I saw him in 5 games, and each one of the 5 games he had excess of 300 yards.
Dang. Yeah, we'll find out this year. Obviously we play those guys, so we'll definitely find out more about them. I'm looking forward to seeing our backs. Josh did mention our backfield. He said he's not like I don't remember his exact wording, but he doesn't think they're basically the most elite running back room. But I will say I like Jam a lot. I think Richard Young has some potential. Then Daniel Hill is a guy. To me, those 3 guys. Then you talk about the kid that transferred in from Louisiana. I don't know too much about him. I'll be honest. I don't even remember. I didn't pay too much attention to him during the spring. But I know one kid that did stand out there that nobody talks about is Kevin Riley, who's actually a local kid.
Me, from up there north. Not Northridge, but Countyheim.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna tell you, man, he's got some juice. He's definitely got some juice. Now he's undersized. He's not big. He's a little thin. He probably needs to put on some more weight. But seeing him run in the scrimmages, man, he's a tough dude. And to me, I think he'll probably be in the future, but I think he's going to be a good player as well. But Daniel Hill. And obviously Jam Miller, and I think Richard Young. I think those 3 guys should give us some solid.
Daniel Hill is a big running back. He's around 220 range, I think.
Pat, he's around 240, man. He's a big boy. Yeah, man.
He's gonna saying he's gonna eat himself into being a linebacker or what?
No, man. If you see this dude run, he runs like he's 220. He runs like he's a lot smaller, but no, he's a specimen. Now he's still got to put some things together. But I mean, I think when it kind of starts clicking even more, I mean, you see it though. I mean, you're watching a guy that's 240 run with that level of elusiveness. I mean, it's not very common at all. So yeah, I think he's definitely gonna get some carries.
It's kind of be like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, when he came out of high school, Derrick was only he was pitched the ball left or pitched the ball to his right, and was pointing him down the field which way to go. That Derrick Henry didn't know much about blocking and things. And with a suspect offensive line that we've got, that we're going to have a running back that can pick up blocks in order to keep our quarterback upright. And I think the offensive line is going to be better than that, but we still got to have a running back that can pick up all these guys. This first one that's coming in there to kill the quarterback. You not agree?
Absolutely. No, 100%. And if it's anything like it used to be, we always said, man, I mean, if you want to get on the field, you can't just be a good, running back, with the football in your hands. No, you got to be an asset when it comes to pass pro. And so, yeah, no, I think
just slide out of the backfield is a safety valve too. And when he's quickly got to get rid of the ball, and got to get rid of the ball to that back, and that back's got to be able to catch the ball and make the quarterback look good.
Yeah, that's true. You got to be able to do a lot of things, Pat. You're exactly right, 100%.
But I appreciate you having Josh Pate on. I really like watching his comments and stuff, and he hasn't been anti-Alabama as much as some of them have, and I like listening to him. I appreciate you having him on.
Absolutely.
But what? So how have you been? As your daddy? I hadn't heard anything from your daddy lately.
Oh man, I haven't either, man. Your guess is as good as mine. I know he's got a golf tournament that he's hosting coming up. I think Monday or something like that. But
okay.
No, I'll try to get him to hop on here, man. He don't
have the hitch in his swing that Charles does he?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. He might actually have a little hitch or something. I'm not gonna lie. He's getting a little stiff now that he's getting older, so he does kind of have a little interesting swing. And it doesn't help him that his shoulders are about as wide as this room. So
he's like me. My problem is that swinging a golf club is very difficult. And back when I really hit bench pressing and all a lot, and it makes it where that when you got golfers that Tiger Woods works out with weights a lot, but he does not work out with that much bench press. That he does other things and all.
Yeah, you gotta do a lot of band work.
You can foul if you swing with too much weights. You need weights, but not too much weights.
That's true. No, you're right. Whole different dynamic to golf, man. Way different.
Oh yeah. Same thing with the swimmers. But anyway, hey, have a blessed day. But you got to have a weight room in all of them. And these kids that think they can get by without lifting weights wind up on the sideline. Have a blessed one. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Pat. Good deal. All right, we got another timeout. When we come back, we got some chat messages. We normally call them app messages. We got some chat messages that we'll read. Plus, we got to dive into this whole conversation about Nick Saban being named co-chair to the new commission under, I guess, President Trump. We'll talk about that and more coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. What's up, Q? Shout out to my guy, Chase. That's right, man. That is right. Shout out Chase behind the glass. Let's see. All right, Corey, we'll go to your question here. I'll put that up here. Where's it at? Does Alabama have a pass rush that'll give us at least 10 sacks? Great question. We're going to dive into that. Plus, we'll get into this Trump conversation, but I want to hit your question first. I told you I'd get to it. Let's see. Let me pull up the depth chart too, so we can talk about these guys. let's see. Where'd it go? I just had it. Got a million tabs open right now. All right, here we go. There it is. I'll throw this on the screen. That way we can see who we got. See who we got to choose from. And the other thing, let me go ahead and pull up these stats. One, who else is I going to do? Two, and let me see. Who else? Who else we need to pull up? Welcome in, guys. If you guys are just joining again, we're on a commercial break, but we're about to discuss Corey's question. Does Alabama have a pass rusher that could give us 10 sacks? Great question. And I definitely want to dive into that whole Nick Saban thing. We got to talk about that. If you haven't, drop us a like, subscribe, all that stuff. You guys know the drill. That always helps us out. We appreciate you guys big time. And it's good. We're growing, man. We're growing each day, getting more and more in the chat, man. If you guys got any friends or family, whoever that you think that enjoy the show, man, share it with them. Share it with them. That'll help us out too. All right. Got them pulled up. Who's the other guy I wanted to pull up? Let me see. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Corey, man. I don't see it, brother. I hate to tell you that, man, but I don't see it. Just being honest. Agree with you on both the adjustments and the addition to Grubb. Hope the season's better than last.
Additionally, Sunday, May 11th, show her how much you.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, guys, I think this year should be better. And I say should because, I mean, you still got some tough games on the schedule. It's like Josh was saying. I mean, things can change so much between September, mid-October. I mean, teams get better. Some teams get worse. But my reasons for thinking that will be better, receiver room is much improved. I think the defense, they're going to build off the good things that they did last season. Coaching staff having more experience this year. We were talking about some of the things that we lacked last year that we didn't see enough of. I'd imagine that they take all that in. They've been working on that themselves, right? It's not just the players that are getting work this spring. They've been getting their own work, right? They've been preparing themselves, and will continue to do so. So I think that'll be a big difference.
Tuscaloosa weather.
I mean, you guys got to think. I mean, like first year filling in for Coach Saban, so much stuff going on. I mean, players leaving initially, trying to figure everything out. The guy that's supposed to be your offensive coordinator dips out. I mean, like, I'd imagine we should be a
Fan
much
of the
better
ABC
shape.
3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
I hope so.
It's 79 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And we're back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. But don't forget about our friends over at R&R Cigars. If you guys are in the market for those premium cigars, or looking for a cigar bar and lounge with the ultimate experience to go watch your favorite sporting events. They've got over 160 bourbons, the best humidor in the Southeast. Look no further than R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street here in Tuscaloosa. All types of deals. If you're not local, don't worry about it. You can always go on the website right here, rnrcigars.com. Free shipping on orders over $100 or more. 20% off of a bundle of 20 or more cigars. I mean, you can't beat these deals. I'm telling you guys, you got to check them out. But if you are in Tuscaloosa, you like to go hang out at a place that has a lot of people that love sports, that want to have a good time, drink responsibly, but you got over 160 bourbons to pair with these cigars, the best humidor in the Southeast. You can't beat the deals or the experience. So check out R&R Cigars. You guys can see right here on the stream. We're looking at the mansion right now here in Tuscaloosa. It's a unique experience. And again, they've got the best deals on those cigars, the best cigars that you can find. Again, that is R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. 14. All right, we're going to the chat messages now, Chase. The new feature, right? We got app messages, but let's go to the chat message box, right? Where we've got let's see, we've got a message from Corey on here. So let's go ahead and see what Corey has to say. He says, does Alabama have a pass rusher that will give us at least 10 sacks? Really good question. I love talking about pass rush. So let's dive into it. I'll be honest with you. I gave you guys a little bit of a preview when we were on a break, but I got to be transparent with you, Court. I don't see us with a 10 sack guy. Now, that's not to say the pass rush is not going to be improved this year, but 10 sacks is a lot. Like my senior year, I think I had credit for 9.5. Should have been over 10. Should have been over 10, but I got robbed on some half sacks. I think I had like 9.5 sacks, right? It's not easy. It's not easy. And that was when we were, we were leading the country in sacks. I mean, I had almost double digits. You used to have like Isaiah Buggs who had double digits. I mean, you're talking, we had some really high sack production. We haven't really seen that since Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, even Chris Allen. The last couple years, it hadn't really been as productive. I guess 2 years ago, you still would have had maybe Braswell, but you get my point. Last season, I'd have to look at our numbers, but as you can see here, I'm looking at LT Overton, a guy who was really productive, right, in terms of being disruptive. Now, he didn't finish. He left some money on the table, right? He had 2 sacks last season. I think that number goes up, but does it go up from 2 to 10? I mean, think about, how productive he was, but he still only had 2 sacks. So say he even finishes on, I don't know, 50% more, whatever. I mean, that's still, maybe 4 or 5. You get what I'm saying? I mean, that's still a long ways to go from 10. 10 is talking about like John Allen, Tim Williams. You got to have guys that are elite to where, anytime they have those one-on-ones, they're running games. You're confident they're coming home. I don't know if I just see anybody that has that ability to just be that force, right? That all right, they get that opportunity, man. They're winning that rep consistently, right? Not, sometimes, a good bit of time. No, consistently winning that rep. I just don't know. Quay Russaw is a guy who has a lot of potential. I think he could be a guy that definitely sees his production increase. As you can see him right here, we got his stats pulled up. He had 1 sack last year. Did have 2 interceptions and some very impressive interceptions. He's got athleticism, a little bit different of ability. Kind of is more of a build like Anthony Jennings, right? His production should definitely be up this year. But again, 10 sacks is a lot. I just don't know. I feel like we have guys capping out in like that 5 to 6 sack range. And that's not bad. Honestly, that's, you know what I mean? Like that's solid for, especially in the SEC, but 10 sacks. You're talking, if any of our guys come off of this 10 sack season, they can pretty much pencil their name in as a first round pick. Corey responded, he said, LT Overton, the 5-tech guy, not a pass rusher. Well, I disagree. No, I agree that, yeah, he's a 280-pound guy, right? He's not in the same, position room as Quay Russaw, but he's definitely got pass rush ability. If anything, he's probably one of the most disruptive guys we got when it comes to getting after the quarterback. I'd argue that if you go look at his pressure rate, it was probably one of the highest on the team, even compared to those guys in that room. I get what you're saying about him not being like a quick twitch edge guy, but you got to remember this dude was like 240 pounds early on in his career, but he put on weight. Now he is versatile. He does play at the 5. He plays at the 3. Sometimes you see him line up at edge. However, you still can be productive as a pass rusher, even if you're lined up in the true 5, even as a 3 technique. Like think about John Allen. John Allen, a matter of fact, let's pull up his stats. I'm not comparing him to John Allen, but I'm just saying you don't have to be a true edge to be that type of pass rusher. Pull up John Allen. In college, John had, let's see what he had. Let's see if I can. Okay, here it is. 2016, his senior year, John had 10.5, and then his junior year, when we won the national championship, he had 12 sacks. Right? Do I see somebody with that type of potential? I'll be honest, no. But again, 5-6 sack guy at that position, that's still very productive, and that would help. I really need to see where we rank that. Chase, if you don't mind, would you mind looking up our sack production last year? I could probably do it. Just don't want to take too long, but ChatGPT will definitely get the job done. It's just I don't want to have to pull my phone up. But Chase, if you got a second. I at least tried to Google it. It says 2024 defense average 2 sacks per game, ranking 60th nationally. This performance was a point of focus for Coach Kane Womack, who has implemented new strategies, blah, blah, blah. Defensive linemen like LT Overton aim to significantly improve their sack production. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. But again, if you go back and watch the tape, I mean, the dude definitely was very disruptive. But to me, that's more of a I mean, just like you said, oh, well, LT Overton's a 5-tech. That is more of a reason why I don't think we have a true 10-sack guy, because I jumped to him before I even go to the true edge guys. Meaning, if you look at the depth chart here, I'm not saying we don't have pass rush potential, but like here's our Wolf depth chart. You got Quay Rusaw, who again, he's a strong edge setter, very physical guy. He has pass rush ability, but he's not as quick twitch type of a player. He's explosive, don't get me wrong, but he's not like a who would I like, you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to compare him to somebody. Like, but that's again, he could end up finding his niche with, you know, a powerful bull type, you know, speed to power move and be very productive with that. I mean, Will Anderson, you know, he worked the edge, but he loved going to power and he was extremely productive. I mean, Quay Rusaw could step up like that, but normally, like, I look at a guy like Yonte Pierre with his skill set, and I would say, like, hey, man, he to me, you know, reminds me of a guy like Tim. Like, that would make me feel better about saying a high production guy in terms of sacks. But, and I'm not comparing Yonte to Tim, I'm just giving an example of skill sets. I mean, behind Quay, you got Jamarian Latham, another bigger guy. I don't see him as a 10-sack guy. Yonte, I mean, I don't even know if depending on the opportunities these guys carve out for themselves. I do like the true freshman that had come in, and for whatever reason, I don't even think he's on here. I'm forgetting his name. Was it Justin? Maybe something like that. But anyway, we'll I'll look into it in a second. But to answer your question, Corey, I personally don't see that. I see more of maybe like LT Overton with like a 6-sack season. Same thing with maybe Quay Rusaw. Again, that's just subjective. That's just my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do have somebody with 10 sacks. Personally, I just don't really see that. Because, I mean, you look at the other guys with the skill set that I like coming off the edge. Noah Carter, the young kid I just talked about. The problem is they're also young. Not saying you can't be productive as a young player, but let's face it. I mean, how many young college football players do you see having double-digit sacks? Like, let's go back and look. Dylan Stewart from South Carolina, who was literally like I mean, you're talking about an elite young player at edge. Let's look at how many let's look at his stats. I don't even know if he was a 10-sack guy last year.
Christian, I'm looking at it now. Dylan only had 6.5.
There you go. You get what I'm saying? Thank you. I appreciate that, Chase. So my point is, I mean, you're talking about the best young edge guy last year only had 6.5. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I would give these guys maybe 5 or 6. I mean, what did Q Robinson have before he got hurt? Let's see. What did he have before he got hurt? Because he got hurt. What game was it? LSU, which was almost a little bit towards the end of the year. Now, obviously, he would have had plenty more games to go, but I think he ended up with. Let's see. Why is ESPN not showing any of these stats anymore? I'm so confused. Let's see. We'll go to his Alabama page. Maybe that has it. But Q Robinson was on the verge of. I was like, all right, man, that's what I'm talking about. Q. He had 4 sacks before his injury. Oh, he said 3. Yeah, like 3 or 4. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, to answer your question, I don't see it happening. But do we need more pass rush productivity? Absolutely. 100% we need more of it. And I'm still trying to figure out who that is. And to just put a bow on all this, I know I kind of dragged this out a little bit longer than I needed to, but just being up there this spring, I didn't see anybody in those scrimmages that really stood out to me that I just saw jumping out that I'd be like, oh man, he's set for a huge year of production. I still think we lack a true, threat off the edge, if I'm just being completely honest with you. And I think that's one area our defense has to be better at. There's ways to counter that, to balance it out, right? For example, run a lot more pressure. You know what I mean? Bring pressure. Like, for example, when when I got hurt, when Terrell got hurt, and we lost all that depth at edge, what did we do? We started turning to bringing pressure. We started bringing Minka, guys like that, bringing, safeties and stuff off the edge, 5-man pressures to help generate pressure because we lacked some of that edge presence. Maybe you see some of that from Kane Womack, who we've seen. I mean, he'll open the game up with the cat blitz, right, which is bringing the corner. So I think they end up bringing a lot more pressure this year because I just don't, unless one of these young guys. Now, there's a guy from JUCO. His tape jumps out. He looks explosive, got a great first step. But again, it's just I don't know their roles. I don't know how fast they get up to speed. And I just know 10 sacks is tough, man. And I think if anything, you need to look back now and say, dang, we really were fortunate having guys consistently, whether it was John, to Tim, to Ryan Anderson, you name it. I mean, every year we were having like 10 sack guys. You just don't, Will Anderson. I mean, myself, Bugs, you just don't see that as much. And I think you just probably start to look back and say, dang, man, I'm not saying we took stuff for granted, but you realize how deep we really were when you really think about it. So great question, Corey. I love stuff like that. So that being said, we got to hit timeout when we come back. Let's dive into this whole topic about Coach Saban. I definitely want to break that down a little bit because I know that's been a really hot topic today. I want to get y'all's thoughts on that as well. We come back after this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge. Time 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Hey, this is Wyatt Fulton from Tide 100.9. Since moving to Tuscaloosa in 2022, I've been embraced by the community, and we want to help do this.
All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, no problem, Corey. Hey, and guys, I promise, I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I would love if we had a 10-sack guy. Just from what I've seen, I haven't seen anybody that strikes me as that. But we'll see. But the young, was it Justin? Let me look up his name, man. I don't know why they don't have him on that depth chart, but what's his name? But real quick, before I do that, how many, let's see. Here's return and production. Excuse me. Before I leave this, let me pull this up. I need to save this. Is actually a good little piece. So we got 50% of our sack production returning. Let me share this with you guys so you guys can see it. We got 50% of our sack production returning. Where did it go? Got too many tabs. There it is. Number is surprisingly low given Alabama is returning its top bandit and LTR efficiency and only 2 sacks. And top Wolf, Quay Rusaw, 2.5. I don't know why they had him at 1 on ESPN, but whatever. So you have Q. Yeah, Jihad led us in sacks last year, guys. That's what I'm getting at, man. Like the edge presence wasn't really where it's been. Not even when it wasn't really. I mean, it clearly wasn't where it's been. Our inside linebacker led us in sacks. Granted, he played off the edge. We moved him down there, but you get what I'm saying. So yeah, I definitely think those guys step up, but 10 sacks, I don't personally see it. What else do we have in here? New time slot got me sure I can't focus on Spanish class with the time zone difference. Dang, don't tell me that, man. The station shovels some stuff around. I mean, we weren't necessarily anticipating it, but it's only an hour back, man. It's only an hour back. But make sure you focus on your Spanish. I don't want to disrupt you from that. There you got it. Mi español está mejorando. Llevo 2 meses estudiando 3 horas al día. Necesito mejorar mi español. Por supuesto. Sigues practicando todos los días. Con el tiempo vas a mejorar tu español. Qué bueno. All right. 10 seconds left. Let's see. Pull that article back up.
Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right. Finally, let's dive into this conversation real quick about Coach Saban, right? I've been wanting to talk about this and get y'all's thoughts as well. News broke last night that President Trump would be creating a commission on college sports to address issues ailing in the industry, led by none other than Coach Nick Saban. It won't be just him. He's going to be one of the co-chairs. The other, though, Chase, get this. This is what was kind of interesting, man. The other is a booster, a big-time booster in college athletics, and he comes from Texas, but not Texas like the Longhorns. I want to say it's Texas Tech. I just had it pulled up. Here it is. Yes, Texas Tech NIL Collective founder Cody Campbell, who sold his oil and natural gas company Double Eagle for $4.1 billion, will be the co-commissioner with Nick Saban, according to sources. So, very interesting. Let's read kind of what this, I guess, entails, right? So Nick Saban is expected to co-chair President Donald Trump's Commission on College Sports, and the other co-chair is expected to be a well-known college athletics booster, which is who we just named. Let's see. Trump plans to form a commission focused on college sports. The president will be very engaged because of the national importance he sees in college athletics. Trump is also reportedly considering an executive order which would create more scrutiny around NIL. And that news comes after Trump and Saban had met at last week's commencement address at Alabama. The Commission on College Sports is expected to deeply examine the landscape of college sports, and including the frequency of player movement in the transfer portal, the unregulated booster compensation paid to athletes, the debate of college athlete employment, the application of Title IX of school revenue share payments, and even conference membership makeup and conference television contracts. So pretty much it entails everything regarding college athletics, from NIL, transfer portal, even to the whole TV deals that they anticipate that these schools will now be allowed to, I guess, compensate up to like $20 million or so to their student athletes. This is expected to be a months-long endeavor. News of Trump's plan to consider an executive order and form a commission come with the backdrop of the House versus NCAA settlement, which continues to go through the final approval process. Attorneys filed an update day evening that sought to address some concerns about roster limits, and the plan would create a grandfather provision for athletes who lost their sports. A decision on the final approval is expected in the coming weeks. I mean, this is just very interesting, guys, and I'm curious what y'all's thoughts are to it. Now, obviously, a lot of people have been saying for a long time that Nick Saban would be the guy to basically save college football. Okay, sorry, I had to make sure we were good for a second. I got so many browsers pulled up right now. My thing was running slow. I was like, everybody anticipated this happening, but I don't think they anticipated it happening so fast. To me, I'm just kind of curious how this is going to take shape. Now, I figured it was going to have to be something that obviously Coach Saban would, his time and his schedule would allow him. That's exactly what it sounds like is the case, which is good. But I just don't know. I mean, because Chase, when I think about this stuff, I feel like it's one of those things that could be a number of things, right? It could be, all right, we anticipate it happening, but they're just talking about it. They're talking about it, but then it just never happens. You know what I mean? Or it could actually, get going and be something really good. I mean, my thing is I at least will have faith in it. I hope that, ends up being exactly what we're anticipating. And I feel like Coach Saban is a perfect person for it. But Chase, you had mentioned that there had been some pushback on it. What were the people saying, Chase, that you saw that people were upset with this? Because I thought when this news dropped that this would automatically be just like, they dropped the news of the first trade deal taking place. The stock market loved it. I thought college athletics, fans across the country would love this. Like, hey, we got a committee that's going to clean all this up. We complain about it week in and week out. We finally got somebody that's credible and somebody that truly understands it too. People, I guess, you got, each side, right? You got a booster on the other end of it. So obviously they could put their thoughts together. Chase, what was the pushback that you've been seeing and hearing about this whole situation?
The one common thing, Christian, I saw, everybody's kind of collective thoughts on the matter negatively was they didn't want Nick Saban to mix in politics with the game that they love. They felt that sports is such a spectacle that it's helped them throughout their career, childhood, whatever people may be at in their lives. People who don't really like politics, they did not want Nick Saban out of anybody to be involved with it. They wanted a different way to do it. Like maybe you just mentioned the Texas Tech 4.1 billion. Side note, that's a lot of money. But holy cow!
Does he want to sponsor the show?
Right? But the main thing was, Christian, I don't want to take much of your time, but it was just they didn't want Nick Saban to be involved with the politics because it gets so Nick Saban to be more a voice like you see on ESPN or just more speaking up on issues and maybe doing a different way. They just feel like, he's such a powerful voice in college football, even retired. He's still, if any coach could call him up, be like, hey, I need your advice on this. That's just kind of the coach he is. But they kind of want him to stick to that rather than get involved in such a messy spectacle like politics.
Okay, so they're worried about the crossing of sports, but at this point, Chase, my I guess question to the people with that argument would be, how do they expect to go about it, right? How do they expect to get change? Because what we've seen is the NCAA is sitting there with their hands behind their back. They're getting sued left and right. They obviously don't really want to get involved any further. Excuse me, at least that's what it appears. And I don't know what else is going to take place to help clean this all up. If anything, I'd much rather be number one. I mean, even though I'm kind of confused why you're pairing Coach Saban up with his booster, I get it, right? You need people on both sides. You can't just have the football side with Coach Saban. You need the other end of it that is a booster, has experience. He's running a collective. He created a collective. He knows the ins and outs of how these deals are done and what's happening. To me, I kind of like the balance of that. You got, a co-chair from that, aspect, a co-chair from the other aspect, who literally is greatest coach of all time, who warned us all of this happening if we were to allow NIL to just basically be unloaded, unleash the floodgates. And he's been right pretty much on everything that he said. I think the problem is people have to stop looking at him as, oh, Alabama's, former coach. He just doesn't want this because, he don't want people to be able to do what he was doing. Stuff like silly stuff like that. It has nothing to do with any of that. He wants parity across the sport. And I think the people that think he's doing it for selfish reasons, I mean, come on now. He's already won what he's won. As much as he loves Alabama, let's just face it, and he obviously wants Alabama to succeed. I think this dude is doing just fine. He makes plenty of money, has made plenty of money, and his literally is the most winningest coach of all time, right? Pretty much, at least in my eyes. I don't know statistically. I forget all that stuff, but you get what I'm saying. I think he's got better stuff to do than sit there and waste his time with this if he was doing it for a selfish reason. What benefit would that have for him? You know what I mean? So I think people should think about that. And in terms of it being a cross with politics, I think at some point, number one, it's already been crossed. There's already been politics involved in this from day one. If anything, it was the wrong type of politics. You had people at the state level that were taking it upon themselves, state representatives that were going and releasing bills and signing bills that created an advantage for their respective universities in their state. It was at that state level that kind of really expanded all these issues even further, if you think about it. So it's not like this, it meshing with politics is new. It's already been meshed with politics. If anything, it was done in the wrong way. This is an opportunity for you to do it at a federal level or work with people on the federal level to help establish things that could help clean up college athletics for the better. Now, I don't know exactly how it goes. This whole thing goes about. I mean, when you talk about politics, you're talking about judges, bills, things getting passed, things being, I mean, there's a whole process to it. So I personally don't know what the agenda looks like. Obviously, they want to tackle a number of things. It'll be interesting to see how they get involved with things like transfer portal. I totally understand, the NIL portion of it, but things like transfer portal, that's kind of interesting to me. I I mean, obviously, I guess, I mean, federally you can make laws and whatever, but to me that's kind of interesting. So what we'll do here is we'll take a quick time out. If you guys got any response to, I see the chat over here on YouTube. There's a number of responses. I'm gonna read some of those. We'll read those live on air when we come back. If you guys want to drop an app message or get in on the phone lines real quick, you've got a few minutes to do so because this is our last time out before we wrap things up. I see we've got Tommy and Ellis on the phone lines. Dang, I missed it. I didn't know we had two. I thought we had one. We'll get those guys in and get their thoughts. Plus, we'll read y'all's responses over here from the chat when we come back after this quick timeout. You listen to the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Man, I don't know if you guys have ever just talked for 2 hours straight, but it's it's a lot more tiring than you would probably think. All right, let's see what we got. I love it, by the way. It's all good. It's just funny. I was like, oh man, I need a break after this. Saban's doing it for the love of college football. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't see why anybody would feel otherwise, other than if you just were, thinking what I just was explaining. Somebody saying, "Oh, well, he's just jealous because they're doing what he was doing." I'm like, the dude's already won. Like, what do you think he's trying to stop people from having success too? I mean, that's silly. I don't know why people would even think that. Let's see what else you guys have to say. Saban's in it for his own pockets since he can't do it for Alabama anymore. All about Bama not being able to buy players like we used to. Yeah, and people, I mean, just like anything, you know this. I mean, people have conspiracies and theories and all the time. I mean, I mean, not even I think. I know he's genuinely doing it to help clean up the mess that college football is in. I mean, I know you guys hear about it, but I'm just telling you, if you really knew like behind the scenes, like the dynamics of like what really goes on. And again, I'm sure you read about some of it, but if you knew consistently about what actually goes on and the real dynamic of how all this stuff works, I mean, it literally is just wild. Like, it's wild. I mean, the whole thing about having to re-recruit your team is, I mean, yes, we talk about it, but if you saw it firsthand, how literally, I mean, every single year you've got not just players, but parents showing up saying, "Oh, my kid needs this," or really, like, I'm telling you guys have no idea, man. Trust me. It's that again, you think I'm not just saying this. Listen closely to what Pate said. Pate said the same thing. Pate literally said the same thing. He said, I know, capital
and
no,
first response
for a fact that guys could have come back and got more money. He's not lying. Like, he's definitely not lying. That's why he gave that answer about the culture. That's why I've been saying that too. That, as a matter of fact, I said that I think last week or 2 weeks ago.
Alabama.
The fact that we have the talent that we have and they chose not to leave when they could have pursued a lot more money, like Pate said.
A warm afternoon.
That clearly says a lot. T. It's not necessarily T, but yeah, I can't say too much. But
hey, tomorrow's high.
You guys get my drift. Just know, I mean, that's why people blame the players. Trust me, it ain't just the players, man. A lot of people involved.
Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, we got about 7-8 minutes or so. Let's just go straight to the phone lines, Chase. That way we can squeeze them both in here. I didn't realize we had two people on here, but and I kind of addressed the chat during the break, and I can do them after the show. So let's go ahead and get Tommy, and I think we had Tommy and Ellis, two of our good old buddies over here. But Tommy's up first. Tommy, welcome in.
Hey, Preston, how are you?
I'm good. Tommy, how are you?
Yeah, real quick. I knew Saban was going to get picked for that because they need a committee, and I thought there should be like former football and basketball coaches. I had a list one time. I had Saban on it. I had Matt Brown. I had Mike Krzyzewski from Duke. You know, those are guys who have won championship, and they love this sport. They love college athletics.
Mm-hmm.
They understand the problems. Because they've been getting 50 years, most of them have given 50 years of their life in coaching and college athletics and all that. So
he would be a good one on the basketball side of things. Yeah, they should build that committee up with longtime coaches like that. I think that would be solid.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of football. You can put Frank Beamer from Virginia Tech. I mean, you can put Roy Williams from North Carolina, and I just went blank on the Syracuse basketball coach. And you put a well-known retired baseball coach, or you even can put Sam Patterson on it, like for gymnastics from the women, or retired women basketball coaches. You know,
maybe an athletic director. Throw an athletic director in there too, maybe.
I know about how they have screwed this up. I think coaches understand the situation. Yeah, they'll be athletic, but how they kick the can down the road.
But was it them, though, or was it the NCAA?
Well, I think it was them and the commission because they never really addressed the issue through the court order and all like that. Have they come up with a decision yet? It was supposed to be yesterday or sometime today from Oakland. I haven't heard no news. The only news I heard, I never thought I'd live to see that. Have you heard the news out of Rome? We have a new pope.
Oh,
we have a new pope.
Matter of fact, Southern Red, who's in our YouTube chat right now, she actually dropped that. She said new pope has been chosen. Allegedly, he's an American pope.
Yeah, he's from Chicago. Pope Leo the 14th. I'm like, well, I've seen Alabama win 4 Heisman Trophy. Now I've seen American pope. I hope I don't die anymore. Because I never thought I'd see any of those. I mean, I'm not trying to be proud, but I never thought you'd see this stuff. But
I'll be honest, I don't know too much about the dynamics of how they choose that process, but it does sound interesting that he's American.
It is.
Yeah. Interesting.
He went to the University of Villanova. That's all I can tell you. He's going to be called Leo the 14th. Because my brother told me, why? He said, you ain't going to believe this. I said, what did Donald Trump do? He said, no, we got American Pope. And I kind of gave him a look like, now, April was last month. Don't fool me, man. You know what I mean? So,
it is
very. But the sports, I think they need to get formal coaches, and like you say, maybe some athletic director. But most like athletic directors have gone to be commissioners of conference. And to me, they haven't really done a good job of going to work for the NCAA and have solved this problem.
No, but I throw that one out just because I think they offer another, another perspective to this whole deal.
Oh yeah,
and I think they would just
you're right there.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just like you got a head coach, you got a leader of a collective. You started a collective, maybe an athletic director. I wouldn't even be mad if they had some current people, you know what I mean, that are involved in some capacity. Yeah. Because I think they would have a good idea on really what's going on as well. I don't know, but you know what's crazy? I did not saying they took my idea. Clearly they didn't. But I was like saying I wish we just had even like a committee, kind of like we did with the playoff committee. I said this thing last week. I said I don't know why we wouldn't just do something like that. That way they can meet, and come up with ideas and things like that to help kind of regulate stuff. So it sounds like that's the plan. But obviously, we'll see.
Yeah, well, let me let you go. I want to hear Ellis, man. I'll talk to him on road talk.
Yes, sir. Man. We'll see you, Tommy. What a gentleman, man. Clearing space for Ellis. Ellis, go ahead and close us out, man. Welcome in.
Tommy's the man, man.
He is, man. And I was like, man, I'm looking at the clock. I was like, man, we got like maybe 2-3 minutes left. I want to get to Ellis. And he read my mind. Tommy's a great guy, man. Both of you guys.
Well, thank you very much. But him and his brother are good people. So,
Absolutely. Great people.
We just
What do you
need to
think
get
about all
Wyman
this?
on the phone. We need to get Wyman on the phone and talking.
Who is it?
Wyman, that's Tommy's brother.
Oh yeah, no, we had him in the background. You know, he likes kind of keeping to himself a little bit, but we've got him on here somewhat, kind of through Tommy a little bit. But yeah, no, we've got him, in the background.
We'll have to work on that. But people are going to hate on Saban because he's and automatically think that he's just trying to help the University of Alabama out. All he's doing is helping Alabama out.
Oh man,
good grief. He's trying to help the whole part of college football.
I think if he was only trying to help Alabama out, you'd probably see that show up in way more ways than just this. I mean, he's been covering. I mean, when he covers everybody, he does it very fairly. I mean, I don't know why people just obsessed with that whole deal. People they love to hate on Coach Saban. That's what it is.
They're haters. They hate us because they ain't us, Christian. They hate us because they ain't us.
I love it. That's exactly right, man.
But I'm all for it. Maybe they'll get something done now that should have been done at the start.
Yeah.
Like he said, but now they're finally listening. So I hope stuff gets done. And
I do too.
One more thing, you were talking about a running back earlier, 200 and what now? 40-something pounds?
Yeah, man, Daniel Hill. I think I don't know what they have him listed at, but everybody I've talked to, they're telling me he's 245.
Holy cow, man!
He's listed at 6'1", 242. So yeah, he's a big dude, man. Big dude running the road.
Can you imagine him running towards you and you're trying to stop him? No.
I can, because I had to tackle a guy by the name of Derrick Henry when we had some scrimmages and.
Okay.
But I will say this, Ellis. The fact that Derek was like my height, which is really tall, it actually helped because you could get low on him and it would help you kind of bring him down. But a guy that's 6'1", 240, that's even more difficult to really tackle. So he could be a bowling ball, man, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome show today. I know I hadn't been able to call in here lately because I'm busy. Going down to Alabama this weekend. Going to carry my mama to Tuscaloosa for the first time.
Oh man, will y'all be safe and have fun, man? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna carry her on the campus and walk of champions and all that. Just show it all too.
Well, maybe you can show her my little handprint footprint over there at Denny Chimes while she's in town. That'd be kind of cool.
I will.
I'm just messing. Well, Ellis, we appreciate you, man. Good to hear from you.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide. All right, guys. Again, big thanks to all you guys, all our listeners, everybody. Per usual, Chase Behind the Glass. Big thanks to Josh Pate, Josh Pate's College Football Show, CBS Sports, joining us. We got to make room for Wyatt coming up next. Appreciate everybody over on YouTube as well, Tide 100.9, all that good stuff. This has been the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. See you guys tomorrow.